Abby Johnson is a pro-life activist who was originally a clinic director at Planned Parenthood, and she decided to quit her job after she was asked to assist. Well, you know what? I'm going to let her tell the story. Abby's journey from pro-choice to pro-life has inspired many to make the same leap, and she currently works to help abortion activists, especially those working at Planned Parenthood, to turn away from the organization. This is not a graphic interview or anything like that, but I personally found it a little bit upsetting. So I just want to warn you, she talks very honestly about what abortion is like. And again, it's not graphic, but it is, the ideas alone are chilling. Here's Abby Johnson. Abby Johnson, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So let's begin at the end. Let's first talk about there's a March for Life on the West Coast. Not everybody knows about that. That is Saturday, January 26th. Have I got that right?
That's right.
Where's it going to be?
It's in San Francisco. So it's a fun place to have a pro-life walk.
Yeah.
It's always very colorful, but but you know what? There's always a good turnout. There's usually at least 50,000 people that show up. It's a great event. So the pro-lifers do come out in San Francisco, in that area.
That's nice to hear, and it's taking your life in your hands a little bit, but I appreciate the effort. So let's talk about your personal story. I mean, you start out in a very religious pro-life family, but you became what you called extremely pro-choice. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, really, really more pro-abortion actually than pro-choice. I got involved with Planned Parenthood, believing the talking points that, we wanted to keep abortion rare, and we were about women's health care and all the things that you hear from them. But as I worked there longer and longer, and actually then got into management, we were instructed to not only have and create an abortion quota, a certain number of abortions that we had to sell, but then in 2009 instructed to double that abortion quota. And for me, as a person who came in I was pretty naive when I got involved with Planned Parenthood. That was pretty shocking to me, that we're suddenly having to implement an abortion quota and then double it. It really went against what I thought we were there to do and what I thought we believed.
How had you made the transition from your family's outlook to being pro-abortion? How did that happen?
I was a college kid when I got involved with Planned Parenthood, which is, super common. They're on college campuses.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know anything about them. I mean, I grew up in South Louisiana. There were no abortion clinics anywhere around us, no Planned Parenthoods. My family was pro-life, but it's not like we were activists or anything,
Right.
So it was like, abortion's wrong. You shouldn't, women shouldn't have abortions. And that was sort of it. So I think when I met the woman with Planned Parenthood who recruited me to volunteering there, I think it was really, I just really wanted to believe what she was telling me. I mean, because I didn't really look into it. I mean, she just says, this is what Planned Parenthood's about. This is what we do. At no point in time did she say, hey, abortion, that's our primary target here. It was really all about family planning and helping women. And I think I just really got suckered in. I was young, I was naive, trying to believe in, women's freedom and women's rights and all of this sort of thing. And, but it's interesting. I tell people, never trust a decision you wouldn't want to tell your mom about, because I actually worked there for a year and a half before I told my parents that I was working there. So I knew that they would not support me working at Planned Parenthood. I knew that they wouldn't like it. So I kept it real quiet.
So now you find out that in fact they have an abortion quota. They're trying to edge up. Were they trying to talk people into abortion?
Oh yeah. Whatever we could do. You give them discounts, you apply this money to this, and anything you could do to get them to keep their abortion appointment, to schedule it that day. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's very coercive, very manipulative, and unfortunately, you don't really even see it when you're inside of it, when you're sort of working there and living that. But so manipulative. For instance, just an example. we charged $150 for an ultrasound, for a woman to have an ultrasound. We didn't show her the ultrasound or anything like that. It was just, we did the ultrasound so that we would know how far along she was in her pregnancy, so that we would know how much to charge her for the abortion. But she had to pay $150. So what we'd say is, well, you've already paid $150. So what I can do is I can actually credit that $150 to your abortion procedure if you go ahead and schedule today. Otherwise, you lose the $150.
Wow.
And so it's, it's really, you become a salesperson for abortion.
And is the idea of that profit, or is it it's profit? Okay. Yeah.
It's profit. I mean, the clinic on average pays about $95 per abortion. That's their cost, but they're charging anywhere from $400 to $700 for a first trimester abortion. So it's low cost, high profit. It's their lowest cost, highest profit item on their ticket.
Wow. So is this what made you begin to change your mind?
Yeah, it was one of the things, but ultimately I left in October of 2009 after witnessing a live ultrasound guided abortion procedure where I saw a 13-week-old baby fight and struggle for his life against the abortion instruments and try to move away from those abortion instruments and protect his life. And that was something I'd never seen before. I'd never been shown that before. There's a reason they don't use ultrasound during the abortion procedure. They don't want people to see that. And I just knew then that this wasn't just simply abortion. This was, we could sterilize it and use whatever terms we wanted to, but that I had just watched the intentional killing of an innocent human being. And I thought, I've got to get out of this. I can't do this anymore. So I ended up resigning. And when I left and Planned Parenthood found out that I was no longer in support of abortion, they actually took me to court. They tried to sue me because I became pro-life.
Wait, what was the basis of the lawsuit?
They were concerned that I was going to go out and share details of my time with Planned Parenthood, which in hindsight, I guess, was smart of them, considering that that's pretty much all I do now. But at the time, I actually had no desire to tell my story or talk about what I had seen. But when they sued me, that lawsuit got picked up by the AP. And that was then what really caused me to be shot out into the media to really start telling my story. So they sort of shot themselves in the foot there.
That's interesting. When I Googled you to prepare for this interview, the first story that comes out is an attempt, I thought a kind of shabby attempt, to discredit you by saying it makes no sense that you had never seen an ultrasound abortion if you've been working there a year and a half. Have you seen this story?
Oh, yeah.
It's the top story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because ultrasound guidance during an abortion is very, very rare. I know very few people who have worked in an abortion clinic that have actually seen an ultrasound guided abortion. Abortions are generally performed in a blind manner. So the doctor has the cannula, the suction tube. He blindly inserts that into the woman's uterus. He blindly pokes around in her uterus until he thinks he has enough blood and tissue in a glass jar. So it's no wonder that we see such a high rate of uterine perforation inside of abortion clinics, where the doctor literally will poke a hole through the woman's uterus because he cannot see what he's doing. It's all blind. And using an ultrasound during an abortion is, of course, safer for the patient. And I remember being told that and going to my boss and asking her, if this is safer for patients, why isn't this the standard of care inside of the abortion industry? And she said, it is safer, but she said to use an ultrasound during the abortion takes up about an extra 3 minutes of time. And see, our goal at Planned Parenthood was to have a woman on and off the table, abortion complete in 5 minutes. So if you're performing, 40 to 60 abortions a day, you don't have an extra 3 minutes of time per patient. And so that's why using an ultrasound is just terribly uncommon inside of the clinics, because it takes a little extra time.
So what do you do now? What is the center of your work? Where do you direct your work?
Yeah, so I started a nonprofit a few years ago called And Then There Were None. And our goal is to get abortion clinic workers out of the abortion industry,
Mm.
get them into life affirming work, get them talking, get them hooked up to attorneys, state agencies, whoever, and get these abortion clinics closed down. And so we have had almost 500 workers come through our organization in the past 6 years, 7 full-time abortion doctors who have left, and we have been able to effectively close down 21 abortion clinics because of the testimony of these former workers.
Wow. And now, do they come to you or do you reach out to them?
Both. We're pretty proactive. We try to reach into the clinics. We do mailers, we send postcards, we make phone calls. The people that go on the sidewalks and peacefully pray outside of abortion clinics, we also train them on how to effectively reach out to those who work in abortion clinics. But a lot of it is word of mouth. So if we can get one out of one clinic, we can generally get multiple people
Mm.
out of one clinic. So, we have effectively been able to shut down a clinic because we drained them of every single employee they had, including the abortion doctor.
And do these people say, like, this was bothering me, my conscience, or do they say, I didn't think about it until you contacted us? Where do they stand usually?
Yeah, it's both. I mean, sometimes there's a traumatic event that happens in the clinic, like a baby born alive and then suffocated, or we had a situation where a set of quadruplets were actually aborted in a clinic, and the staff saw that
Yeah.
and caused them to leave. So sometimes it's an event that causes people to say, "What the heck are we doing here?" A lot of times, people get involved in these clinics not even knowing it's an abortion clinic. They aren't told till after they got the job that, by the way, we give out birth control, but we also do abortions a couple times a week. Um, and sometimes it's just sort of blindness. They're just like, it's a job. I'm a single mom. I've got kids to feed. They're paying my insurance. I just have to keep doing this.
Mm.
Sort of a willful ignorance. But then when they realize there's a way out and that we can help them get another job, that we can help them financially transition, then they take us up on our offer and leave.
Well, Abby, I have to stop here. I'm sorry, I'm out of time, but that's a really fascinating conversation, really fascinating story. I thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.